Hey guys, how's it going? Today's video is going to be an old school booktube tag. This is the Rip It or Ship It book tag. For a few years I had the tradition of doing a shipping themed video for Valentine's week because everybody else was doing like romance genre themed videos and I don't read romance, but I love a good video theme. I thought about playing the love triangle game again for old time's sake, but I wanted to switch it up and I feel like I kind of won the game last time because I put Ned Stark and Ebenezer Scrooge together. And I'm just never going to be able to beat that. The Rip It or Ship It book tag was originally created by emmmabooks. I usually link the original video when I do these tags, but Emma's been around forever and this tag is 11 years old. Is it even okay to link to somebody's video of them from 11 years ago? That feels too much. So I'm just going to link her channel instead. If you're not familiar with this tag, or if you just forgot in the last 10 plus years, I have a bunch of names in a little cup here. I'm going to pick them out and decide if I ship them together or if I want to rip up the pairing. I tried to pick a variety of characters. I pulled from my bookshelves, classics, recent reads, a few curveballs in there maybe. And as always with these games, we're imagining that they're in a universe where their ages match up appropriately. So that's enough preamble, let's get into picking. Our first pairing will be Rand al'Thor and Vivian St. Jacques. Okay, Rand is from the Wheel of Time series. He is the Dragon Reborn. He is the Chosen One. He is all-powerful, savior of the world, etc. Vivian St. Jacques is from the Left-Handed Booksellers of London by Garth. She's very serious and studious, but is very good, loyal to her friends, does the right thing even if it's against the rules. She's someone that likes the rules, but isn't afraid to break them. I don't know if I can picture them together. On one hand, I can't really see Vivian with Rand, but Rand I can see going for Vivian. Rand is canonically poly, he has 3 partners, and I feel like Vivian would fit in with them really well, especially Elaine. I feel like Elaine and Vivian would really feed off each other, but I don't know if Vivian would care to be somebody's 4th partner. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like Vivian just gives me monogamy vibes. So I'm gonna have to rip it. Next up, Samwise Gamgee. Okay. And Elizabeth Bennet. Sam from Lord of the Rings is so loyal and good and kind and dedicated. Elizabeth Bennet from Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen is intelligent and clever and independent. Elizabeth Bennet does not give Frodo vibes. I know that Sam and Frodo's dynamic was technically based off of military batsmen and their officer or whatever. Sam is technically Frodo's gardener / implied manservant, and that's the dynamic. But honestly, it just gives romance vibes. I feel like they're soulmates. I'm sorry, Rosie. And thinking of how Sam is with Frodo, I feel like he would be the same with Elizabeth Bennet. Not necessarily meek, but subservient maybe. And I don't think that that's what Elizabeth would want. I feel like she wants someone who can kind of meet her at her level. You know, she's witty, she's fun, she's a little bit sassy. I don't think Sam could do that. And I just don't feel like they'd work out. I feel like they would get along, but I'm not getting any sort of romance vibes from them, so I think I'm gonna rip it. Okay, sorry if anything went wonky, my camera just started turning itself off. I'm not sure if that last footage saved, but the 2 names I pulled were Spider-Man and Merlin St. Jacques. I feel like everyone's very familiar with Spider-Man. Merlin St. Jacques is also from the Left-Handed Booksellers of London, Vivian's brother. Very opposite. She's the serious, studious one. He's the flirty, fun, kind of silly, does whatever he wants. He's very fashionable, kind of eccentric, gender fluid, gender non-conforming. There's a scene, I think there's actually more than one scene, where Merlin is dressing up like Jane Austen characters around London just because he can. I feel like Spider-Man would love the theatrics of that. I feel like he would really enjoy Merlin and his just the stuff he gets up to. And I feel like Merlin would be fine with Spider-Man. I feel like their banter would be really good. I feel like they would definitely have fun. Also, Merlin has to fight magic entities from the secret magic world, and Spider-Man obviously has to fight the villains. So they're both very good at keeping secrets, fighting like random super powered enemies and surviving while being like kind of sarcastic about it. I really think this would work. I think I'm gonna ship Merlin St. Jacques with Spider-Man. Is that the first ship of the video? Oh my gosh, it is. My first successful ship of this video is Merlin St. Jacques and Spider-Man. Next up, Jo Gardry from Great Expectations by Charles Dickens, and Lexi Volkov from Clean by Juno Dawson. I can tell you right off the bat, romantically, no. Lexi Volkov is the like rich, spoiled heiress who almost overdoses and then gets sent to the luxury rehab facility. That's the plot of Clean. Jo is a father figure slash, I guess technically brother-in-law because he's married to Pip's sister, but Pip's sister raised him, so whatever that makes him. Jo is the goodest man. Sweet and mild and calm and gentle. Lexi is a fucking mess, and I love her for it. She's a party girl, she's rich, she doesn't really give a fuck. But also, Lexi doesn't have the typical, like, rich person looking down on poor people kind of thing. Like, she's very aware of her privilege and how lucky she is that she was born into such a wealthy family. I feel like Lexi would try to eat Jo alive, but I could see Jo being, like, a father figure for Lexi later in the book, like once she calms down a little bit. He's so forgiving. Like, think about how he was with Pip when Pip treated him badly in Great Expectations, and then Pip gets sick or whatever it is, and then he comes back to Jo and Jo helps him out. Like, Jo would definitely be the one to like hold Lexi's hair back while she's throwing up kind of thing, you know? Like, he would be giving her a warm bed to sleep in when she's completely like out of her mind. I actually think they would have a really sweet dynamic, but nothing romantic, nothing sexual. Like, it would very much be a parental, mentor, guardian figure, and Lexi learning from that and trying to be a better person with Jo's guidance. I don't think that Jo would change at all with Lexi. I don't think she would, like, liven him up a little bit. I don't think she would convince him to do drugs. Like, I can't see Jo at a party. Not a Lexi party. So I'm not going to ship it, but I would love to see them interacting. Next up, Anyanwu from Wild Seed by Octavia Butler, and Jacob Marley from A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I loved Wild Seed. I read it like a year and a half ago. I borrowed it from the library, and it pops into my head all the friggin' time. Honestly, I just need to buy myself a copy so I can just keep rereading it. Anyanwu is a 300-year-old immortal African woman who is also able to shapeshift. She can turn into like other humans, animals, etc. Anyanwu is very morally like non-negotiable. Like, she knows what is right and she will not sway. Even when her back is against the wall, she will do what is right rather than what is best for her. At first glance, it doesn't work because Jacob Marley, obviously, you know, he's wearing all the chains because of all the bad things he's done in his life. But my headcanon with Jacob Marley is that he has repented for all of that. He's been carrying these chains around. He's learned from his mistakes. He's seen the error of his ways. And he's coming back to the land of the living to warn his best friend not to make the same mistakes so that his best friend doesn't also have to suffer. So Jacob Marley, canonically, bad guy. My headcanon at this point is that he's turned a new leaf and he's good now. And I think that Anyanwu would forgive him. Like, I think that Anyanwu could be that final push. And she's immortal and he's a ghost. I feel like, you know, that's not an issue, right? I don't know if they would have a lot of chemistry, but I feel like they would be good for each other for a while. Like, I feel like that would be one of those relationships that, like, they get together and it teaches them something, and it's, you know, they break up, but it's okay, and they both move forward as better people. That's the vibe I get. I don't think they're going to last forever, and it literally would be forever because Anyanwu is immortal and Jacob Marley is already dead. I think there would be a little bit of friction in their relationship. I am going to ship it. Like a short-term ship, maybe a year or two. Actually, they're immortal and dead, so like, give them a couple years, why not? Not forever, but I would like to see them in a relationship. Next up, is Katniss Everdeen, classic, and, Ayula from My Sister the Serial Killer. Katniss Everdeen, of course, from the Hunger Games. I put Katniss in, I think, every single time because I feel like so much of the discussion around her is about the love triangle, and I couldn't care less about Gale or Peeta. I used to think that I hated Katniss, but I think I just hate all of the discussion around Katniss and how so much of it revolves around the love interest, and I couldn't care less about either love interest. So I keep trying to give her someone better. However, Ayula is from My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. This is the sister. The serial killer, allegedly. I'm sorry, Katniss. I was trying to give you a chance. First of all, Katniss is not Ayula's type. But she is very, self-centered. You know, she's always dating these, attractive, successful guys and then, basically using them and then killing them. She claims it in self-defense. Perhaps she is a serial killer. Katniss is successful by the end of the series, but she starts off, poor. She comes from nothing. Ayula wants everybody to, bend over backwards for her. She wants to be worshipped. And I don't think that Katniss would care enough to do that. I don't think Katniss is, gonna do that for anybody. I can't see them together in any scenario. I can't see them together romantically. I don't think they'd even be friends. I don't even think they'd be enemies. I think they just wouldn't really care about each other. Unless Ayula, killed somebody that Katniss actually cared about. Aside from that, no, I don't see it at all. So I'm gonna rip it. Next up is Miss Honey from Matilda by Roald Dahl. And Evelyn Hugo. Evelyn Hugo, of course, from The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I thought she'd be a safe bet to throw in here because she's had so many partners that, surely I could find some reason to put her with whoever I pulled. But Miss Honey, I feel like Miss Honey would not have any interest in Hollywood and the celebrity life and all of that stuff. And I feel like Evelyn Hugo would almost look down on how, kind Miss Honey is. Evelyn Hugo is not a good person. She'll do whatever she wants to, whatever she has to, regardless. Miss Honey is so loving and caring and good and will, do whatever is right regardless of how she feels. Honestly, I feel like it would be a very toxic relationship, and I don't think that they would want anything out of each other. Evelyn Hugo, I don't think would want Miss Honey's gentle, little, kind, and peaceful life, and, raising this poor little girl whose parents didn't love her enough. I don't think that Evelyn Hugo would give a rat's ass. No, I'm gonna rip it. I can't see it. I can't make it work. I'm sorry. Next up, we have Liz Roche from Jackal by Erin E. Adams, and Danny Tozer from the Dreadnought series by April Daniels. Liz is a black woman from a very, very white hometown who reluctantly goes back when her best friend is getting married. The wedding happens, of course, to be near the woods that she's been traumatized by when she was younger. Her goddaughter is playing in the woods and gets lost. Liz learns that black girls always seem to go missing from this forest around the same time over the years, and no one's ever looked into it, so she has to look into it herself. Dreadnought by April Daniels is my all-time favorite book, I think. It's the book I have the most fondness for, and it's probably my top 5 favorite books of all time. It's a trans superhero story. What else do you need? Basically, in this world, when there's superheroes, the most powerful superhero on the planet is Dreadnought. When he dies, the powers get passed on to the next available person. Danny accidentally witnesses his death, gets the powers, but one effect of the Dreadnought powers is that it transforms you into, your ideal best version of yourself. So, you get super buff or super tall or whatever. Danny is a closeted trans teen, so when she gets the powers, she instantly transitions, essentially, and Now she has to deal with all of that. So not only is the supervillain now after her, she has to deal with all of these powers that she has, her transphobic dad trying to fix her and turn her back, her guy friends now suddenly think they're entitled to date her, even though she is canonically a lesbian, and the whole, fate of the world rests on her shoulders. So they sound like very different stories, but I feel like they could really commiserate and bond over what they're both dealing with. Liz is basically seen as a conspiracy theorist. She's saying to all of these white people, the police, her friends, her neighbors, they're all white, and she's telling them a black girl is being taken by these woods every year, and they think that she's just, making things up. It's not all about race, etc. Dani is trying to, save the world and also just live her life, and people aren't understanding that things are different now, and that even though this is how she's always been, this isn't the life she's always lived. I don't know if I ship them, but I want them to be friends. I feel like they could be a good duo of just, supportive friends who just gets each other. Honestly, I don't know why. A little part of me thinks that Dani would be, intimidated by Liz. Liz is no, fuck you, I'm right, you're not listening. I'm gonna go do the thing and show you that I'm right. I feel like Dani would be a little bit intimidated by that, but maybe in a way that makes it hot. And if we're assuming that they exist in the same, time period, Dani would obviously be older. I think the problem is that I'm thinking of it from early story Dreadnought, where Dani is young, she's just transitioned, she's just getting her power, she's in high school. But if I'm imagining they're in a universe where their ages align, it's going to be several years later, or later in the sequel Dani, where she's a little bit more sure of herself, kind of understands what she's doing. That Dani with Liz could be a friggin' power couple. Just a couple of badasses just doing whatever the fuck they need to, regardless of what other people say. I'm into it. I'm gonna say yes. I've talked myself into it, yes. Our next pairing, Laszlo Strange and Lemony Snicket. This author persona that he created for himself is a character, okay? It counts. Laszlo Strange from Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. Dreamer really is the perfect way to describe him. He is a dreamer, but not in a way that's overly positive necessarily. He's not daydreaming of sunshine and rainbows all the time necessarily. He's obsessed with the lost city of Weep, this missing city that had this terrible tragedy. He's not that light and fluffy. Lemony Snicket, the author of a series of unfortunate events, among other things. I am talking about the character, the author persona, not the real human behind the pen name. I don't like shipping real people. I think shipping real people is really gross. They're both weirdos. Neither one is super concerned with reality or the perception of reality. The first thing that popped into my head, Laszlo Strange is a junior librarian. He lives in the library, very library-centric character. I literally, on the wall of my home library, have a quote by Lemony Snicket. When trouble strikes, head to the library. You will either be able to solve the problem or simply have something to read while the world crashes down around you. They're friggin' soulmates. Also, Laszlo is not afraid of a little darkness, a little bit of misery. He's obsessed with Weep, which is a lost city and all of the terrible things that happen there. He doesn't want or expect the world to be sunshines and rainbows. He knows the world sucks. He fully understands how awful things are. He just doesn't let it bother him. And I think that Lemony Snicket would find that really attractive. He's a war orphan. Lemony Snicket would definitely give him brownie points for that. I feel like they would have a lot in common. I think they would respect each other. An author and a librarian. Hello. But Laszlo is so, endlessly, passionately curious. I feel like Lemony Snicket would be so into that. This might actually be my new favorite. Yes. This is my new OTP. Lemony Snicket and Laszlo Strange. Perfect. Soulmates. Together forever. 100%. And that means that my last two... Oh, I just remembered who it was. Felix Love from Felix Ever After by Kacen Callender, and Rin from The Poppy War by RF Kuang. No. Felix's whole thing is that he doesn't know if he's worthy or capable of having someone love him. I'm trying to remember how they worded in the synopsis of Felix Ever After, but it's Felix is black, queer, and trans, and he thinks he's one marginalization too many to be lovable, or something like that. Felix's whole journey is about, obviously, like, discovering himself, falling in love. It's a coming-of-age story. But also just, like, learning what love he deserves from himself and from others. Rin could not care less. I feel like Rin wouldn't have the patience for Felix to discover himself and, like, navigate all these things. Like, Rin got her first period and, like, chemically eviscerated her uterus so that she'd never have to do it again because she didn't want that. She didn't want kids. Like, Rin is just like, I don't care, just do the fucking thing. Like, oh, somebody dead named you? Kill them. And I feel like Felix needs someone a little more compassionate. Rin is hard and angry and strong, but Felix needs somebody a little bit softer, a little more compassionate, more caring, more loving. And I don't think Rin is loving, not in that way. Even if Felix could change Rin, like even if she met him and she realized, oh, you know, there is humanity, there is goodness in the world, there are things worth living for, you know, art is worth it and love is worth it and all of this stuff. Learning that lesson would change Rin for the worse because she has to do so many horrible, hard things that having too much compassion, I think would be really hard for her to deal with. And obviously, the other way around, I don't want Felix to be hardened. Like, I don't think that he should learn the lesson of if somebody's mean to you, just kill them. I can't see them together. I don't think they'd like each other. I don't think they'd be good for each other. To be fair, there aren't many people I could see Rin with. And Felix deserves such a good, like, wholesome love. Even if the relationship somehow worked, they would both end off in a worse place. So, ending on a rip it. Those were the last names that I had. I had a lot of fun with that one. I feel like we had some major flops, which is to be expected, and is kind of half the fun of the game, is finding couples that are just so incompatible. But we had some really good matches. Like, I don't know, some of them, I could kind of see it. And I just love tag videos. I always love tag videos. I think that they just have this, like, inherent sense of community. If you make any sort of videos about books, consider yourself tagged because, like I said, this tag is over 10 years old and I think it's time we bring it back. So if you make videos and you want to do this tag, please do, and please let me know if you do. Like, comment on this video. I will go watch it. I think this is such a fun tag and I would honestly love to see other people's interpretations and the characters they picked and how it goes. Like, it's just so much fun. So do it. And if you're looking for someone to be your Valentine's this year, like, look at all of these options. Like, they're all still eligible as far as I'm concerned. So, you know, feel free to take your pick. But that is all for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, please click the like button to let me know, and subscribe to stay updated with the rest of my videos, including next year's Valentine's week shipping related tag. In the meantime, I do post videos once a week, usually reading or writing related. So I hope to see you guys next time, and until then, have a great day. Bye!